Hey y'all, I thought I would give you a patron-only tour of my camper home that I've had a little over a year now, and for the most part I've been inhabiting this space as my own. There's been times that I've been in other places for a little while, or backpacking and not in here at all. So, just been a crazy day of carrying this thing around and being on crazy roads and it being kind of top heavy, and I'm unable to take it off because of how old it is. Getting jacks put onto the body of the camper is a little tricky. I've been dealing with that this week. I've been kind of needing to do that for a while, and I'd really just tried doing that this week, and I was just like, this is another headache. But I'm really grateful for having the space in all of my explorations and adventures and research trips and camping sessions and traveling, and so I haven't ever really done a tour. I've been meaning to do one maybe on Instagram, and so I thought I would do one for y'all first. So first off, it's a 1974 Starline slide-in truck camper. So when I bought it from this guy originally, it was for a pretty good deal too. He had it on a trailer, but it's not meant to actually be on a trailer. It's actually meant to be used the way it's being used right now, like in the back of my truck. And so I'll do more, but I wanted to tell you more about it. And it was in Almond Grove in a garage, pretty much in the Central Valley of California for 15 years of its life, even though it's from the 1970s, but it really wasn't used very much. I couldn't even tell like that anyone had used it. It's crazy. Other than the guy I got it from did some extra little things like put a shelf in for a microwave, which I immediately took out. But yeah, it was as if buying a brand new vintage camper thing. So the cushions have gotten worn quickly from me being in here, and then some other things have worn quickly since I've been pretty much living in this, and I've been doing a lot of maintenance to trying to keep things from getting too messed up from my life in here. But it's been a really sweet thing to have, and let's start off with maybe this area. So where I'm sitting, this is a really sweet table. I actually used the star pattern on my tincture labels. I just love it so much. This thing comes undone. Actually, I usually have the table this way, but I can do it either way. And so what happens is that this is a table, but when I want to sleep, this thing gets set down here, and the thing I'm sitting on right now pulls out. And it goes out more, but it comes out to about right here. And there's a lip right here, and the table goes onto the lip, and there's one on the other side too. So that makes the bottom of the bed. And then I put my sheepskins down. The cushions all turn and perfectly fit to make a bed. Just about right here. And it technically could sleep two people, but it's not. I have done it, but it's not as comfortable as one person, and you have to be flat. Although I try to push that, but after a while it starts to suck. So I keep my bedding in this zone. Stuff everywhere. You can see cushions need to be reupholstered, and I'm hoping to get a friend to do that soon. But underneath here, I have a huge compartment. There's 3 of these. And another one right here. And there's even a water tank right here. But I have all my bedding under here. And all of this is bedding. And I just pull it out. You can see this comes out too. And this is a tube. You can barely see it. That goes to the outside where the water gets filled and comes in here. And it's pretty awesome. And this is like a little curtain we had to finagle with bamboo. It's nice for just like camping when you're close to people, to be able to have like privacy. I didn't have anything here or here for a while, but it's been really nice to have that. So that's how the bed works. You can see, so it is like extra thing I have to do. This type of sliding camper is different than most sliding campers, which there's a area right here where the bed is over top of the truck cab. And this is more of like it's almost like a glorified just cab thing for a truck, but it has a kitchen and a bed, and technically can be hooked up to power, and is just cute as hell. But it's just a little less weight and a little less bulk than a full slide-in. This right here I shouldn't even have it plugged in if I don't have anything in it, but this is for my solar. This is a 12-volt hookup that goes to my solar panel that's on top of the camper. And this part right here, I would only use if I was plugged into the grid. This is a higher voltage electricity, and this is just 12 volt, which is what you would use like anything that you can plug into your cigarette lighter, which is actually more than you think. And so I plug in my cell phone, iPad that I don't use that much these days, and my headlamp I can charge with that. And if I got an adapter for my computer, I could probably charge it, because a lot of Apples actually can be charged with 12 volt. But you have to have the right adapter, because it's a long story, but with the workings of electricity, as to why that's the case. But people think that computers have so much higher voltage than they actually do. So anyhow, what else? Do I charge anything else? Oh, my bike lights. These lights are also off the 12 volt. I have that one there. And these are the original lights that came with the camper. They're not LED, which would be more energy efficient. They take about a third of the electricity that these do. But given that I set up my solar in a way that would be able to pull a lot of electricity if I wanted, there's a lot of energy I'm not using, given that this thing doesn't have much it draws from the solar, so it's fine for me then to just use the old lights. But if I ended up getting a fridge in here that would ran off of the solar, then I would probably need to just go on and do LEDs. So there's a lot of stuff under my sink, but this is where my solar stuff is. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. Don't know how much you can see, but you can see that glowing green light. That's my charge controller, and then to the right is all my loads, which are just the lines that take electricity from the battery to the things that I'm using. And the solar panel charges the battery through the charge controller, just as a way to keep it from getting over, you know, too much at once. Basically, a charge controller just as safety and regulation of the power coming through the panel. If you didn't have that, you would maybe have some issues. And my sink, which has some dirty dishes in it. Sorry. This is a hand pump water thing that comes from the tank over here. And then this one, if I was parked somewhere, I could hook a hose up to the outside and just turn it on, just like a normal sink. And this is the cutest little blue sink ever. Totally original, same star pattern. I'm having a little bit of it wear off right here. I'm not sure how. I'm gonna try to seal it as soon as I get a chance. And I'm not gonna be living in it for a little bit. Maybe like if I'm going camping for a little while, I'll seal it so the off fumes aren't in here while I'm in here. Just to help protect that very unique linoleum counter. 3-burner stove that works perfectly. No oven, but it's pretty sweet. I usually turn off my propane after I'm done using it, just because I knew someone that died from their RV blowing up. So with them in it, so I'm very, very particular about making sure I always turn off my propane at night, anytime I'm done using it, and whenever I'm driving anywhere. But this is the only thing that propane runs in here. And then this fridge is an icebox fridge, so it doesn't run off any energy, which is okay, but I have to buy blocks of ice in the summer to refrigerate it. And right, there's a lot of stuff in here right now, but this is where the ice goes. There's some right here. And then there's a drain in the back that leaks outside. So as the ice is melting, this tray basically acts as a drain. So normally you would have a bunch of ice up here and maybe some cool drinks you want to get cool, and then all your food's down here. This thing is pretty sweet. Sometimes when I go on bumpy roads, it'll fly open and a bunch of things will fall out and break. So that kind of sucks. Behind this thing, the solar panel is up there. And I had to figure this out last May, like how I wanted to do this. But I put the panel up there and then have this thing, entry housing is what it's called, where the tubes from the panel come down behind this fridge. This is like this cavity right here. And that entry housing is just a waterproof plastic thing that you stick right there and then you seal around it. And so the wires go down behind this. And then this space where these little drawers are, there's actually a lot of space behind them, where there's things like wires can fit, so I wired them down behind there and then cut a little hole between these two spaces. And that was kind of hard for me to cut any holes into this thing, but I've been having to get used to that. And then wired it through here to the charge controller. So from there to there. And I did that over here because this was already over here in this other electrical thing. And I haven't used this that much because I didn't have any fuses. And this doesn't have any fuses. The grid tied or the grid electric doesn't have any fuses. And I'm just like, yeah. I mean, it'd be nice to be able to extension cord in and plug in things. I could always get an inverter and use my solar to charge like higher voltage things, like my printer that I have that actually is a mobile printer, so I can use it for a while without charging it, but the battery runs low pretty quickly. Anywho, what else? Oh, underneath here I also keep all my dishes and stuff, which is always like trying to figure out where to put what, how, like heavy things in the bottom. It's hard though to keep all the heavy things in the bottom and figure out how to keep things from moving around. I still need to do a lot of little carpentry projects in here to better organize things so they don't fall and move around. I think that would be really helpful, like spice racks, like here, that things just stay in there so when you drive, they're just there. Little things like that on the walls would be sweet. I just need help with that because I'm okay at carpentry, but usually working with somebody is easier for me to make sure I don't mess up something and just like, I don't know. There was a clock up here that was super loud that came with the camper and I took it off. That's why there's 2 holes. There's this storage up here. There's actually a bunch back here and I just have like dried foraged foods back there. Seaweed and walnuts and persimmons and I don't even know what else. Just a lot of dried goods, backup storage food. It's a pretty sweet little space. Some books, although books really shouldn't have heavy stuff up top here. But I haven't all the way found a good place to put all my books, other than it would be better down there. Where I have all my bedding, but it's just, that's the best place for my bedding, so I don't think it would make sense to stuff all my bedding up here, although I could try it, but I don't think it would all fit. So yeah, books, I just got rid of some, because you really have to keep things down when you live in a small space. And there's some art supplies and writing. I have a lot of notebooks I carry around where I write in and photo tools. I have all this camera equipment, my film camera, and my digital. Should open this up. This is a sweet little vent that is metal, and most campers don't come with metal ones, no. So nice. It works great, no leaks. It would be sweet to get a 12-volt fan put in there for the hot days. It would totally work fine. I would just have to replace this whole unit. And it's kind of cute because it's like original and nice and not plastic, you know? So, I don't know. It's like, why fix something that ain't broke, you know? So that's what my dad says. If there was a way to put a fan in there without having to take the whole thing out, that would be my preference, but so there's that. And my closet, there was a really nice mirror, but it fell one day while I was driving and broke everywhere. So another light from the 12-volt solar, pretty awesome. And I have this sweet closet that has taken me some time to figure out how to organize, and I'm still working on that. And this is the area where I have the most things that fall, and I've made these little lips here, but they're not quite tall enough still, like especially this top one, for things falling. This thing I think got installed by the guy that had it before me, like a coat hanger thing. And I think this needs some small carpentry organizing project things too, because this is a good space to store things, and you got to be smart about how you store them. And of course I have all my typewriter, office supplies, more books. I need to get rid of more. I got rid of 5 today, but I need to get rid of more. I do so many craft projects too that I just look more crafts. Buckskin, I need to sew into things that I haven't. This is a window here that I actually have been keeping just down because it keeps falling down, and I've kind of given up, and it's summer in California and it doesn't rain, so I'm not worried that much about it, but I need to fix it so that this piece of glass comes back up and and fix this contraption that keeps it up. I used to never put it down, but kind of nice airflow. Here's the outside. This thing here is really helpful. Got to tighten it all the time. Here's the drip. And this is the gray water. I've been working on figuring out how to get an adapter piece and extender so that I can hook a hose up for it to run off, not on the side of my thing. But of course, since it's so old, nothing fits these old campers. They're not standard. I've learned that like 3 times. They're not designed with all the standard measurements and everything. This is where you would hook up water hose if you were to be parked somewhere and I wanted to run my sink. This is electric, grid electric, propane tank. Those fill up once a year because somehow it doesn't take that much. This is one of the issues with figuring out how to get jacks put on this thing, because they would go right here and this is in the way. I would have to like close this door off, and then I couldn't get the propane tank out, and then I would have to cut a hole in the inside, and like I don't think I could really put it up this high according to the people at the jack store, and I'm a little like stressed about that because I have a tail light out and I can't change it, and also I need to be able to drive without the thing on there every now and then. Here's water from the same tank. This is designed for a longer bed truck, an older truck that would be lower to the ground. A lot of this new Ford truck that I have is higher up. So this thing would fit better. You can see I wouldn't have to put the tailgate down if it was on like an older Ford or Chevy or something. But it's okay, people do this. You know, but some things about it make it a little tricky to deal with. This is where I fill the water in. I had to install, I got new attachment pieces welded here because this one came out. Ugh. Maybe this thing has popped out a little bit because the tank has moved. This thing, yeah, I have 3 more of these I need to install that I haven't yet, but these are a lot beefier than what was in there, so I need to tighten this. This is how it's attached to the truck, and these pieces down there are attached to the frame. That's a big important piece with these sliding truck campers. There's only really 2 ways to attach them, and one is from the inside, like kind of drilled to the bed of the truck, and the other way is like this. And I think this is the better, safer way, and it's really most ideal for really heavy campers. Mine's not like supremely heavy, but it's just better, safer, less likely to fall. So I had a couple moments where you can see the top there where I hit a tree. I'm really bummed about that. You see that one on the corner, but there's another one now. Not too bad, but just that top there is really hard to gauge. In California, there's so many crazy, gnarly live oak type trees that hang over the road, and you're trying to back out a parking spot, and there's like no room, and it's nighttime, and you can't see, you have blind spots everywhere. It's intense when it's your home that you're accidentally hitting a tree with. So I've sealed a lot of that, but I have to keep sealing it before rains start again. So, and yeah, Starline is an interesting thing. You see that label back there? I've tried looking up this camper to see if I can find more info about it, and it's not. I haven't found it very much because I don't know. I don't think they made that many campers. They made mostly buses. Actually, I'm going to turn on my propane because I'm going to cook some wild rice for dinner. So I do this thing. Open it up before I I'm about to cook or make coffee or whatever. Go in. Oh yeah, I have a epic bike rack on here in case I have friends. Oh, mosquito just got in the house. Tricky things. Yeah, I have a really sweet bike rack, although it's pretty heavy in the back there. I had to get an extender so that it would stick out far enough so I could put my bike on it. Bike's really nice to have, although I left it in Nevada City for this trip up to the High Sierras where I am right now, which is, it's always nice to have the bike in case you get a flat tire and you're screwed and you can bike to get help. So, I think that's it for now. There's some more things that I could say about the space or show you, but yeah, I think that's enough. It's kind of fun. I've learned a lot being in this space, and yeah, thanks for watching and seeing my camper. Bye.